Having trouble sleeping at night? Too much energy? Need some low energy?
May have an HSA in some companies don't. But I think the norm ought to be
Jeb, for all your sleeping needs.
Republican presidential candidates Donald Trump and Jeb Bush back at it again, trading jabs on social media. Now, we just came back with Trump's latest ad mocking Jeb. Take a listen to what Jeb had to say in response.
Who would you like representing the United States in a deal with Iran, with this regime there?
I think Hillary would do a good job. Hillary's always surrounded herself with very good people.
And so contradictions from Donald Trump between what he said once upon a time and what he said now. For more on what these candidates are saying in his ongoing war of words, let's welcome our good friend Craig Shirley, the president of Shirley and Banister Public Affairs. He's the author of the soon-to-be-released book, Last Act, The Final Years and Enduring Legacy, or Emerging Legacy, of Ronald Reagan. The legacy will endure as well. But what about the impressions of these ads, Craig? Trump really seems to be having a lot of fun using satire.
I know, isn't it? You know, you watch it as an observer and you think, my God, it's been too long since we laughed in national politics. You know, great presidents and great presidential candidates have always understood the power of humor. John Kennedy did, FDR did, and certainly Ronald Reagan did, both as a candidate and as president of the United States. And how long has it been since we've laughed? We've never laughed when George Bush was president. We haven't laughed in the last 7 years since Barack Obama, and maybe it's a little bit on the cheap side or whatever, but it's still it's nice to see people in politics at least enjoying themselves once in a while.
So you've got humor from Trump, and you've got Jeb attempting to recast himself. Now, we didn't see this particular ad, but there's one where Jeb is standing up saying he's an outsider to Washington. He's a proven two-term governor. But given his family name, isn't it kind of tough for Jeb to claim the role of an outsider?
I think it's very tough, J.D. His father first came to Washington in the 1960s. His family has been, and don't forget, it's not just about geography, it's also about culture. You know, you don't have to be necessarily inside of Washington to not be a part of the Washington establishment. So you could be, quote unquote, from Kennebunkport, Maine, or Houston, Texas, and still be very much a part of the elitist establishment in America. So it's not really about geography. Yeah, he was governor of Florida, but he's still from a family that is very much ensconced in the Republican establishment. It's going to be almost impossible in fact, it probably is impossible for him to break out of that.
Is there anything Jeb can do to loosen up? I mean, we've heard him use some salty language on the stump and show some righteous indignation. But in terms of ads, if you were advising Jeb, what would you suggest? Got about a minute.
Well, whatever he's doing, he's not doing it very well. He's sunk in the polls in the single digits. I'm not sure that it's stylistic so much as philosophical. I think that what he's got to do, he's got to find a signature issue is what he's got to do. And then he's got to campaign on that day after day after day, whether it's tax cuts or the Iran deal or cleaning up the corruption in Washington. Find one issue and then just stick with it throughout the duration of the primary campaign. And then hope that Trump stumbles, because in a way his fate is dependent upon Donald Trump's fate.
Well, we will have to keep an eye on this. Of course, it's worth noting today there was Jeb outlining tax reform in North Carolina when Ted Cruz and Donald Trump were speaking out against the Iran deal on Capitol Hill. At any rate, Craig Shirley, author of the great new book, I got a sneak preview of it, read it this weekend. It'll be out in October, Last Act, The Final Years and Emerging Legacy of Ronald Reagan. Craig, always do appreciate your insights as you Skype in there from Northern Virginia.
Thank you.
Now, you heard what Craig had to say, and we can get a real good idea of where the people are by your comments. So I'd invite you to send us your comments, and here's where you send them. You go on the internet to newsmaxtv.com/comments. And tomorrow night, I really will have some of those comments. For now, J.D. Hayworth saying, stay brave, stay free, stay tuned.